"That's why you want to purchase my English horse," said Debray. "You think he will bear the cold better." "You are mistaken, for I have made a vow never to return to Africa." "You were very much frightened, then?" asked Beauchamp. "Well, yes, and I had good reason to be so," replied Château-Renaud. "I was retreating on foot, for my horse was dead. 6 Arabs came up, full gallop, to cut off my head. I shot 2 with my double-barrel gun, and 2 more with my pistols. But I was then disarmed, and 2 were still left. One seized me by the hair. That is why now I wear it so short, for no one knows what may happen. The other swung a yataghan, and I already felt the cold steel on my neck when this gentleman who you see here charged them, shot one who held me by the hair, and cleft the skull of the other with his saber. He had assigned himself the task of saving a man's life that day. Chance caused by that man to be myself. When I am rich, I will order a statue of Chance from Clagman or Marraketti." "Yes," said Morrel, smiling. "It was the 5th of September, the anniversary of the day on which my father was miraculously preserved. Therefore, as far as it lies in my power, I endeavor to celebrate it by some—" "Heroic action," interrupted Château-Renaud. "I was chosen. But that is not all. After rescuing me from the sword, he rescued me from the cold. Not by sharing his cloak with me, like St. Martin, but by giving me the whole. And then from hunger by sharing with me. Guess what?" "A Strasbourg pie?" asked Beauchamp. "No. His horse, of which we each of us ate a slice with a hearty appetite. It was very hard." "Gah! Eating horse, don't like that. I don't like it, folks. I don't like it. I'm a vegetarian, and I don't like it. But we don't need to dwell on that. Suffice it to say, Maximilian, going out of his way to be super generous to Château-Renaud, saving his life, giving him his coat, sharing a meal. Blech. This felt a little contrived to me. Morrel chiming in here just to say, yes, it was the 5th of September, the anniversary on the day of which my father was miraculously preserved. Therefore, as far as it lies in my power, I endeavor to celebrate it by some ... Actually, it's a dash, not a dot, but like, what the hell do these men care about the day on which your father was preserved, let alone the anniversary of it? And why cut off how you choose to celebrate? What was he going to say that he chooses to celebrate? How does he celebrate his father's salvation from complete and utter destruction? By going out into war and saving men's lives? Oh, preserving other people's lives, maybe. Just, so what is he, like a Avenger on that one day? Every year on the 5th of September, I hit the streets looking for a person in need. But, I mean, suffice it to say, that felt a little contrived to fit that in there for some reason. But it does have the value of bringing the ghost of Dante into this, right? The kind of phantom of Dante's past gestures. Now, I don't know necessarily about Château-Renaud or Debray or Beauchamp, but we at least have Maximilian and Albert, who are both men that have benefited from Dante's benevolence. Do we want to call him saving Albert from Vampa benevolence? But whatever the case, it is interesting that Château-Renaud is here telling the story because Maximilian was in a place where he could save him. So we're seeing the ripple effects of Dante's actions in this story without actually seeing Dante. In fact, I'm going to do a little research here, folks. Give me 1 second. Okay, I just wanted to do some calculation on my part real quick. We're not quite there yet, but we're nearing the point at which we have spent more time away from Dante than we have with him. While my ordering system, my numbers are a little jacked up from skipping some numbers accidentally, I'm recording what I call, in the background that you never see, episode 534. Really, we're at like 532, I want to say it was. But the last time that we were in Dante's perspective was 288. And that was the conclusion of chapter 25, where Dante goes back to the island of Monte Cristo. Chapter 26, if you remember, was a little bit of jump in time, where Dante dresses up in his first disguise, kind of, to go see Caderousse. That was 289. And in that chapter, we were in Caderousse's perspective, not Dante's. So 289, and we're already at 534. 533, one of the two. I can't keep my stuff straight. That's a long time away from Dante. I suspect at this point we're going to remain so. But it brings into a question for me of like, I need to think on this. I don't have an answer. I'm just going to ask the question. By the end of this entire book, do I need to shift back into Dante's perspective to reflect on everything that's happened and how things have been weighing on my heart and where my mind and emotions are? I mean, as a reader, I would... I mean, as a reader, you really just want something satisfying. You want some catharsis of some sort. You don't necessarily need redemption. I think a lot of people like redemption. But would stepping and sliding back into Dante's perspective be necessary to give us that satisfying conclusion? I don't know. Let's just do a little thought experiment. I love this because, you know, as I like to flirt with writing myself, it's a good mental exercise for me. Let's just say that this chapter ends with Dante arriving for his breakfast, right? I don't know that that's what happens. I'm just putting out a scenario. And at the conclusion of this breakfast, with Dante having re-entered the story, he is on the property of Fernand and Mercedes. What would happen? How would you feel if we slid back into Dante's perspective at that point, knowing what we know of what he's done, how far he's come, how far away from the character we knew him as currently is? I think it would be a monumental task to get us a step back into Dante's psychology. But would it be satisfying to be within it when he does confront Mercedes and Fernand? Because we're going to have to be in someone's perspective by the time we get there. And if we're not going to be in Dante's, it doesn't logistically make sense for it to be Albert, because I would assume, and I could be wrong, that a satisfying confrontation needs to be between Dante and Fernand, where the mask drops and he lets Fernand see what's going on. In that scenario, are we in Dante's perspective? Are we in Fernand's perspective? Or does Dumas take an omniscient point of view and not let us into either, or does let us briefly into both? I don't know. I mean, these are the choices you have to make as a writer. And there's a sort of like instinct you have to have for how to deliver that satisfying conclusion to things. Now, I realize I made a bunch of speculations. I mean, not really speculations, but I was posing a lot of scenarios there that may not come to pass. I mean, or at least in such a simple way. Now that Danglars is wrapped up in Fernand, this might not turn into a Kill Bill sort of situation where he's going to knock on everyone's door and have individual confrontations with them all. Who knows how this is going to unfold when all is said and done. But anyway, that's all I've got for today. Join me here tomorrow as we presumably hear a little bit more about Château-Renaud and Maximilian saving his life. So, until then, when we find out what they have for breakfast, it's probably just going to be like scrambled eggs. I would say over easy. I used to be a scrambled person, and now I've aged into over easy. I appreciate a good runny egg over like a English muffin or something. Okay, I'm going to go have breakfast. So, till tomorrow. Okay, bye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.